Hey everybody, welcome to Good Sports The Next Generation. I'm Dan Craven, and you're not. Unless you are, then give me a call and we can be Dan Craven together. But tonight is championship night, championship show, and I'll tell you what, the last time we had one of these was in June 23, 2016. I bet you have that footage at home. But anyways, before we get into a lot of the details, let me introduce the crew who's going to be here tonight. On my right, Dwayne Kohler. Always a pleasure.
Good.
All right.
All right, good. All right.
He's our outdoor link, so we're always going to be excited about him. And on my left, DJ Craven. How you doing, bro?
Good to be seen.
No doubt. Hey, so here's what we're going to do tonight. We got a really special guest here tonight that you're really going to want to be a part of, that's for sure. But again, as I mentioned, this is championship show tonight. We're going to touch a little bit on pro sports. We're going to talk a little bit about some local sports. We're going to do a little bit of self-accomplishments. So you need to be thinking deep, right?
Oh
Remember what we're talking about, championship. And then last we're going to do Segue to Sanity. That's a segment we haven't done for a long time. I invented it. It's my show. We're doing it again. That's the way that works. So without further ado, I'll tell you what, before we get too far, we're going to take our first break because this show is going to be so exciting. Go get yourself a drink, sit down, nestle in, get the blanket, put the dog, feed the dog, make sure everybody's okay. But we're going to be back with our first guest, and we'll introduce this person in a minute. So with that, we'll be back in a flash. Hey, welcome back to Good Sports The Next Generation. And you people out there, you better put your sunglasses on because this gold puppy is shining tight. If you haven't read the letters or if you haven't recognized what this trophy's all about, you better believe it. To my left, Coach Nick Bancroft, men's volleyball coach from Meadville High School. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'll tell you what, it's so exciting to have you here. So, yeah, this is kind of like just to kind of shoot things out. We're going to let you start off. First of all, welcoming you to the show for sure. But just quickly, Nick, just kind of give us, without going back to kindergarten, but just a little background, like, how you got into, like, who you are, where you're from. I mean, there's a lot of people know you and the name, but there's some people out there, believe it or not, might not know. So kind of give us how'd you got from here to there type of thing.
Yeah, so I graduated from Maplewood High School. Grew up around the game along with my mom. It's a big volleyball coach out there at Maplewood, and been in the gym since I was in a crib. She had a little pack and play at the school, and so I was always around. And so graduated from Maplewood. Went to St. Francis and played college ball there. And then I started coaching club ball around this area for the Tool City program, for the girls' flash program in the area, also run by my mom and Marcy Mallard from Cochranton. And then started coaching at Maplewood for the girls and the boys for about 3 or 4 years. And then this job opened up, and that's where we are.
All right, good deal. Guys, you know the rules. You got anything you just want to throw it in, throw it in.
You mentioned kindergarten. I was in kindergarten, and I remember when Meadville won its first and only ever before this state title in boys volleyball, right? That was in the early 60s, 64, 65?
Yeah, 64.
You knew that, Coach.
I was in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Coach Nelson, yep, I knew him very well. So this is awesome. I mean, Bulldog hockey, they've done a great job, but that's not an official school sport. That's a local club sport.
Right.
But for the second only ever state championship for Meadville. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
right.
awesome in a lot of ways.
Yeah, there's not many even volleyball championships in the area for boys. I mean, Maplewood has a few, and I don't know that, besides Meadville, I don't know that anybody else has one.
Yeah, it's a great accomplishment. How long have you been coaching the Meadville?
This was my first year.
So this was your first year. Wow, what a way to do it, huh? What a way to start off. You're setting that bar high.
It's kind of like the Mike Johnson of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, right, yeah.
You're in an elite group right now.
Yeah, we went right for it. No.
That's pretty good.
No, that's awesome.
Now, I know you talked to a lot of people, Nick, and people say you were a pretty decent athlete coming up, obviously, but you were also a decent wrestler at one point, weren't you?
Yeah, I wrestled in high school. I placed, I have the most wins at Maplewood, have 123 wins, and then I went to states twice. I got 4th my senior year. I almost wrestled in college. Was pretty close to doing that, but
No kidding. So,
yeah.
So you didn't want to chase Cal Sanderson's record?
No, that wasn't going to happen. It wasn't that good.
Well, 133 wins, that's not so bad in high school, right?
Yeah, 23. Yeah, 123.
So,
played football too. Yeah.
You talked about one of the Maplewood victories, that Matt Proper was on that team.
Yeah.
Now, is that era or you before or after that?
I was after that, but that was in the year 2000. So I was just, I don't know, 8 years old, 9 years old then. So,
yeah, see, my timing is all off.
But that's about when I first started watching volleyball and getting enjoying the game and following along. But yeah, they had a really good
Yeah, that's when they were beating up on us, Pops. That's when we were losing to Maplewood all the time. Right there in those early 2000s.
Yeah, Coach Zabisky, they had a nice program.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, can you talk about some of the guys on the team? My around the corner neighbor Charlie Wade hadn't played volleyball before and joined in, and he loves it now. I mean, I talked to him walking the dog all the time, what a cool thing, new to the sport, and now he's the state champ.
We had a bunch of new kids coming out this year. Charlie, right, hasn't played since he was in 6th grade, I think. Stepped on, ended up starting for us at the end of halfway through the season. Did a really nice job, contributed a lot. Tucker Watson and Brendan Leach, who both were in all first team and second team all district picks. I think both made all state. Those aren't released yet, but I think that they didn't play last year. So those 3 guys that weren't on the team are all part of a state championship this year. And a freshman, Julian Jones, another guy that wasn't there on the team obviously last year. So 4 new guys on the team, and then with the core of Aiden Miller, everybody knows about him, and Paul Leach, and Mark and Logan back again, and
It was
really nice core.
It was interesting watching the finals. It was on cable, and it's like the whole other team was all geared on your one guy, And then finally the other guys started seeing that, and they were the other ones making those hits down the stretch that really turned things around there. Am I right about that?
Yeah, you are. I mean, we all year long try to distribute the ball as much as we can. Aiden was a phenomenal player, and when it comes to crunch time, we're going to give him the ball. But all year long, we've really just focused on trying to get the other guys involved, and they all pitched in, and I think there was guys with 8, 9, 8 kills, and that's pretty big in a state championship game like that. So.
Now, playing as much as you do, it's a couple questions here. One, first-time coach. I mean, you run the gamut, but sometimes it's hard to come in. And of course, I don't know if it's better or worse to go out against young guys. But first of all, how do you get the confidence of a team? You're the first-year coach type of deal. And are you good enough? I mean, can you sit up in the stands literally and just put 20 kids on the floor and just watch them bat the ball around? And can you say oh, there's my setter, this kid's an inside? Can you do that, or do you have to
I don't know,
meet the kids kind of deal?
So we started back in October, and so we had a lot of open gyms, and we created a fall league this year, and that really helped pick out who's going to be where. And I think kind of coming in, I knew Paul was going to be my setter most likely. I did try some other things throughout the year, just didn't really like it. But for the most part, you can kind of look at a guy and say, oh yeah, he's going to do this, and this guy's not going to ever do that for me, and whatnot. But they're a lot of things go into what they kind of can buy into doing. Some guys come into the program, and I'm a new guy coming in. They might think I'm a middle hitter. Well, no, I need you over here. And so, but I didn't really have that much of an issue with those guys this year.
Do you? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We've all coached some degree, some level. But so when you have that little huddle and you got so many seconds, if one of your players come off and say, hey, coach, I think this is going to work or that's going to work. I mean, you can sort of take that into counsel and then kind of make it work, because you kind of believe these guys know what they're doing out there, right?
Definitely, a lot. We have a really good relationship of talking back and forth and open. I like all their ideas, and one kid in particular did a great job. Our setter, Paul Leach, I can't say enough about him. The whole time he'd say, maybe we can try this or that, and definitely, we'll see what it looks like. And so we do that a lot, and
that's good.
The nice thing I like with him at the beginning of the year, I would tell him, when we get stuck in rotation, you don't have to do this same thing every time. Move this guy over here and do this. And so about 3/4 of the way of the season, I would say, Paul, and then he's like, I'm already ahead of you. I already got it. Okay, all right. Whatever, man.
What do you think some of the biggest differences? Because you're roughly 10 years removed from playing in high school ball yourself, and certainly coming from a successful program. Again, don't know the necessarily stats you guys had at Maplewood, but why don't you talk about a little bit some of the differences, in those 10 years, that where we are, because from 2010 to even to now 2019, I mean, just kids in general, that's a big difference, and a lot has changed in the world on the way that people think and kids think and all that stuff. So what, any kind of major differences, any at all that kind of glare at you that when you were there, that now that you're coaching, that might be a little bit, whether it be positive or negative? But
I actually see a lot of similarities. I played on some good teams. My senior year, we lost in the state finals, and we had a team similar to this team. Maybe we weren't as good as this team, but they as a group, as a team, we was talking to somebody this weekend, and they made a great point of, if you look at our team warming up or just playing, you wouldn't look at them and say that's a state championship team. We're not flashy. We don't have any big guys that go up and just bounce the ball and really impressive. But we didn't make mistakes. We didn't have any errors. We did the little things. We just chipped away. We played smart, and just really solid performance all the time.
Right.
And then the attitudes on the court. like we had when I was my buddies, we were all. Oh, nobody got down on each other.
Right,
We're all positive the whole time, and you know that's a big, as you guys know as coaches, that's a big domino effect. Of one player on the team can rip you down, and we didn't have that this year.
Yeah, some of that positivity, optimism, all of those things. Yeah.
They were a good group. They're a good group of guys on and off the court, and they never one time got down. They had a lot of opportunity to get down,
Right.
and just cash it in a couple times, and they never did.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
I think that's thinking back to your 2003 hockey team, Deej, I'm seeing the same thing, eh?
Yeah.
I think you see a lot of kids that it's just like, you Seibert and Ricky, and then you had your Borinsky and, Nickerson and Jeff.
Volleyball, yeah.
And then, of course, the big D on the back. It just seemed like everybody just kind of got along, and I think that's part of it because, and you kind of like, your coach always said, "Not playing for the guy next year." That's easy to say, but some people are like, "Hey, stay. He doesn't take a shower. He doesn't smell good. I'm not playing."
Right.
But other than the obvious, real quick, some of your highlights. What's some highlight? I mean, the obvious. I mean, this is like the golden nugget of the PI. Like nobody, right? Like nobody in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. If you people don't appreciate that, go get a map and just try and look at all that area. There's only one of these for this year, and this right here in Meadville. That's a big thing. So what's some other highlights, right?
We had an awesome game, the region title game against Sagertown. It was a phenomenal game. The first game I think was like 31-29 or something like that, went extra points, and we ended up beating them in 3 that game. But it was a great match. And then we turned around and played them again in the District 10 final. It was another phenomenal match. That game could have went either way. And then we went into the state playoffs and we ran through the Whippeal, which is always fun to do. We went through the 7-3, 7-2, 7-1, not in that order, but those were some big matches, and they played really well. We also had a really good state college tournament. We went down there and played against a lot of AAA teams, and we came out of our goal was to get into the gold bracket, and we made it out of there and beat some good AAA schools. Central York, who lost in the finals, we played with them in the pool play game. They beat us both sets, but we were right there with them. Could have went either ways, and so and I think that was a big key in turning our season. We get down there, we see, wow, we're right there with these guys, and they know how there's a lot of good volleyball players that are going Division I out east and AAA.
Seeing is believing.
Yeah, it really is.
What was it like rolling into town with all the excitement and all the greeting? Coming back. That had to be a real boost.
It was awesome. There was a ton of people there, and just a lot of the support was great. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know how many people follow volleyball and whatnot, but you bring a championship of any sport back to a town like this, and small town, and it's pretty cool. So.
Without giving away too many secrets, next year's team, I don't know how many people you lose.
We lose 4. Ryan was hurt all year and didn't get to play a whole lot, so 3 starters. We'll be tough again next year. We have a nice core group coming back.
Good to know.
Some nice kids coming up, so we're gonna be real tough.
To tag in on that, is there a youth program?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you want to address that to some people? It's like, hey,
There
I want
is.
a part of the goal. I mean, how does somebody get in?
That's right.
How does somebody get their teeth into the youth program?
We have 5th and 6th grade at all the schools. Denny Patton's done a good job. Actually, we'll be meeting with him in a week here because I think he might be hanging it up here pretty shortly.
Oh boy.
Yeah, right.
He was doing it when I was playing.
He's been doing it for a long time. He pretty much started around here.
Yeah.
So we have 5th and 6th grade, and the 7th and 8th grade. We're always looking for lots of players to come out. Any type of athlete will take them. So
Yeah.
Is there some type of notification? Do they need to check like the newspaper? How do people get that?
yeah, it's usually announced in school. So the 5th and 6th.
Announced in school.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's go across the announcements.
Very
But
good. Very
yeah.
good. Now, this Barrow guy, is it Labero or Labero? The guy with the wrong shirt on. What's his name?
Libero.
Yeah, that's La.
The libero.
It's an LE. It's Matt, so it's not La.
Yeah,
It sounds French
it's
to me.
Libero. Yeah, libero.
What's that all about?
Yeah, that's
Talk to the crew.
so.
At first, I thought the kid didn't forget. I thought he forgot his jersey. I'm like, he only has the blue on. What's
Yeah.
that dude? What's that person?
So he can only play defense. So he can only come in the back row. He can come in for whoever he wants, but whoever he goes in for, that person has to go back in for him. So typically, like for our team, he went in for both middle attackers. They didn't play any back row. They just they played across the front, and when they come to the back row, Brendan would go in for them.
So if the middle attackers are in, you don't have a libero then, there's somebody else that's floating around in the back, you'd play the
So
regular
I always
volleyball?
put them opposite of each other. So when one guy's in the back row, the other one's in the front row, and then when they get around to the front,
So he's always
they,
in.
they switch. Yeah, there's one time he's not.
Coaching, see how, that's coaching.
Yeah.
See, that's beautiful. Did you see that, Dwayne, how he did that?
Yeah, yeah.
And awesome, right
Can I
there.
follow up on a question Dan had for you a minute ago?
Please.
If the kids in the 5th and 6th grade are interested in the program, but they really have no experience or whatever, what kind of things might they want to be working on,
That's a good
over the
question.
summer or whatever,
Yeah.
to kind of break the ice there?
Just
Good
get the
question.
ball in your hand and just learn how to play with it. Learn how to
Right.
set the ball, learn how to pass. There's a lot of sand courts down in Kalani has these NWPAVL down where in Fifth Ward, where the old outdoor learning center used to be. And there's a ton of people that go down there and play a lot of volleyball, and it's pretty cheap. And there's some camps around. We just actually had a Tool City camp. We didn't advertise it very well this year as well. We didn't know what to expect. We ended up having 62 kids come out from 7th through 12th, which is pretty cool. So there's that camp, and I know, there's girls, there's a bunch of camps around. But for the guys, we're hopefully have some more. But just start playing with the ball, pick it up, grab somebody, and learn how to hit that thing.
It was a long time ago, but I remember my time with sports. It wasn't so much necessarily in the sport in the early part of the season for the sport or whatever that you were doing just kind of general fitness stuff.
Yeah.
It was more specific plays that the coach had in mind and that kind of stuff. And so you sort of had to go on your own to the weight room, and you had to go on your own to do whatever cardio stuff you were going to do, or whatever. Is there anything like that?
Well, I say volleyball's a different animal because volleyball's so technical on how you do things, so hitting the ball and whatnot. I'm not going to say you don't need to work on getting in shape. I mean, as a kid, eventually you'll learn that kind of stuff, and then when you get to a higher level, that kind of the jumping and all that technique will come. But really, just getting with somebody and learning just to play the ball and hit the ball back and forth and grab a. When I was a kid, we used to have an old badminton net we set up, and we'd just play back and forth with each other in our yard and whatnot. And
Now, when I was growing up, even Pee Wee football, you get a playbook. It was like, 4 or 5 pages thick. I see this all the time in volleyball. The guy with a notebook.
Yeah.
Now you only got 5 fingers, Nick.
Yeah.
You only got 5 plays.
Yeah. No, 6. This is 6.
Yeah, 6.
This is 6.
6.
Explain to them what that means, though. What the numbers mean, what you're telling them.
Well, I don't know, maybe-
Because sometimes you're not necessarily calling plays. Sometimes you're giving positions on where you actually want the server to serve the ball.
So you
That's
push
really
it.
what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then
So
and I
it's
don't
finger
know.
pointing.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So I tell them there's 6 positions.
Can you
on the court.
demonstrate?
Yeah, sure.
To the crowd.
So there's 6 positions on the court. If I want you to serve to the 6, I'll give you one of these. If I'm 5, 4, whatever number I'm going to give you. And
So
then
so what's number 1 position?
that would be the right back. So we got our. Well, I want to show the crowd here. So
Okay, so this is a court. Yeah, I'll hold it.
let me just draw. Can I draw on this?
Oh, coach.
I'll show you
There's
my.
no rules here.
I'll show you my artwork here.
I would be ecstatic if you would draw in my notebook.
Look at this. This
There's
is
a 10-foot
this
line.
is easy. That's the 10-foot line right here.
Dwayne, am I on it or what?
Right. Okay. So this is where the server serves right here. Let me write it first here.
So is the libero allowed over the 10-foot line?
No.
See?
Right. So well, they're allowed over it.
They can't hit the ball.
They cannot attack the ball above the net, at all, ever. And then also they cannot set the ball
Ever.
in front of the 10-foot line. Yeah. So if they're in front of the 10-foot line and they set the ball, and your attacker goes up and attacks the ball, that is an illegal attack. You cannot do that. Right? So the reason they do that is so that you don't make your libero your setter. All right?
I got
Then
you.
people would just do that. So these are the positions here, right? So
You got it,
that's
yeah.
that's just the way you rotate, right? Your first server's here, and then this is going to be your second server, your third server, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And so you rotate this way around. And so those are the positions the guys know on the court, and I tell them where to serve.
It's pretty hard to serve to these fun guys. Isn't it?
It is. It is. We practice that quite a bit, though. It's throws some people off a little bit.
Little dinkers over.
It is. Yeah. It's you throw in a little a mixed ball, like a change up once in a while.
So that's part of the hand signal.
That is.
That's basically
That is
the hand signal.
That is the
Yeah.
hand signals.
Yeah.
The play, we do have preset plays for when we get what we call a free ball. When they're not attacking the ball, say they don't make great contacts and they just forearm pass or setting the ball over the net. We got a play going every single time.
Gotcha.
Whether
Because sometimes you see 2 blockers, sometimes you see 1 blocker, going up, that kind of
yeah, typically, depending on who you're playing and what the hitter's like, but typically you try to get at least 2 blockers on the guy. Once in a while we'll throw a triple block up if needed, but not all the time. But
So a lot of times, so you'll notice, so if you before the play, and depending on the level, obviously, and again, you start looking at the pros, it's gets crazy,
Right.
and it's a lot different than high school.
Right.
But with a setter, basically, he's the quarterback.
Yeah.
So he's the guy calling all the plays. So you have standard plays on, certain guys, your power hitter and your backside hitter, all the weak side hitter. They're going to like it at a certain level just on a generic, regular basis.
Right.
Typically everybody's that likes it at different levels. It's just how they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll have different plays where, like, for instance, one that I always had, and I'm sure it's still called the same thing, was like a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for instance, you're just your power hitter. She's just hitting it on the same level. All of a sudden, you throw a shooter in there, which is instead of the ball getting set to the far side, just nice arc on it, so they can come up and hit it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's coming quicker. So now you catch maybe the blockers. They're
A
not
little
coming up as
sleepy.
quick. They're a little sleepy. You throw a quick one. Usually the middle guy's quicker. They're not a big high one because you can get all three in there. I mean,
Right.
those type of things. So a lot of times you'll see what the setter is doing is he'll hold his hands behind his back, and he's the one that's
Telling
giving
you
the
which
signals about what he wants. 1, 2, 3. Those are different levels, and
Yeah.
everybody has to get different things there. So
You'll see your setter a lot. He'll be pulling his shirt away from his body, and he'll be doing one of these things.
Give it-
and-
just
and
give
showing
signals,
different
yeah.
signs to whoever where he wants
So the
everybody.
shirt's not too
Right.
small.
No, it can't be for him. It can't be for them.
You gotta give them extra large.
Extra large ones. That's right.
Are there any rules you like or dislike?
Um,
Not like you want to change the world, but it seems like everybody's trying to change things, and some coaches like, yeah, they put it. Sometimes people put rules in there
Yeah.
to make the game quicker, slower, whatever. Is there any rules that you're like, wow, you really? Is that rule in
see,
there?
I liked a lot of people. The old-fashioned people, my mom may be one of these. They don't like the sloppiness of the game. It's gotten a lot sloppier. You used to not be able to serve receive with your hands.
I was gonna ask. You're
Right.
allowed to do that now.
You're allowed to do that, and I would have never even been able to play in college if we weren't allowed to do that. I can't. I'm not a great passer with my forearms, and I teach my guys the same way. I teach them to get their hands on every single ball, because the first contact, the first ball is cannot be called a double contact. That's a rule. A lot of people don't understand that. This is a good crowd for everybody to know this. So you always hear people yelling, that's a 2, that's a 2. Well, it's not a double contact if it's the first contact.
no kidding.
Yeah, I saw on the serve receive.
Wow.
So even if the guy
See, I didn't know that one.
even if the guy
either.
goes up and attacks the ball at my hands, it can come out however it wants. Now they can call it carry if I catch it and throw it up, but they won't call it double contact on the first contact. So we really train.
That's good to know.
Get everybody to play the.
How high up does that level go? Does that go all? I mean, that goes all the way.
That's all the way through.
Wow. And now you're saying that was like that when you were playing too?
That just started about when I was in like 7th, 8th grade. It started to get a
Yeah.
little looser and
Okay.
looser, and then by the time I was in high school, it really got pretty loose.
And then when did the libero start? Because when I graduated in 2003, so
Yeah.
dating myself a little bit from your. But when did that? Because that libero and then the rally score and all that stuff changed right in that same general time period,
Just
right?
about that time. I think
Yeah.
the first year they did it was in 2005 or 6. I can't remember my freshman year, which would have been 06. I can't remember if we had a libero or not. I want to say we didn't. And then the next year we did.
You did, yeah.
So maybe right around that time.
And they changed the scoring at the same time too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was maybe a little bit before that. When I was
Okay.
in 7th grade, we did regular scoring. And
Yep.
then when I was in 8th grade, we did not. We went to rally.
Right.
So right around that.
Yeah, and I guess maybe just quickly for the fans, maybe explain what we're calling regular and what you're calling rally. Maybe give them a quick
Yes.
explanation of what that
Yep,
means as
yep.
well.
So rally scoring, what it is now, there's a point scored every single play, no matter what. But it used to be called side out scoring, the
Right.
regular scoring. So
Yep.
you had to serve to
In order to
score
get the point.
score the point.
The games were short. They were the 15, not
Playing
the
to
20.
15, but sometimes they went longer.
I know.
Yeah, I
Those
would say
games
it
could
took
go forever.
Because you just serve back and forth and back and forth.
Oh yeah, yep.
Now, did your mother play?
She did. She played in high school, and then she played at Edinburgh.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching the finals on the on the PCN and then watched it again later on.
Uh-huh.
I noticed that, and you said this before, but I want you to follow up on that. Your guys really didn't serve the ball out of bounds, serve it into the net, didn't spike it out of
No,
bounds, and the
little
other
things.
guys on the other
Yeah.
side did that.
Yeah.
Is there some magic there? Is there?
Well, just
Coaching.
repetitions. I mean, we do. we do preach a lot. Like we do a lot of drills that incorporate maybe some punishment with errors. I mean, the game is scored on an error. Every single point, every single error you make is a point for them. And so we really work on just trying to keep the ball in play, and that doesn't give yourself a second chance on defense. Right? If the ball's not right there, we can go and just rip it. We'll put it somewhere, put it in a corner. So we'll put X's out there, or lines, little boxes that we're trying to hit this corner. Add a system. What we call add a system is when it's not a perfect pass, and or the setter can run a fast set to the outside, or a quick one ball, or a quick ball in the middle, or whatever. you can't go up and rip it as hard as you can, so just put it somewhere. Make it tough on them to give you, maybe they give you another easy ball back, or not as an in-system ball for them, was the goal for that.
Who's your assistant coaches? You can't do this by yourself.
No,
can you?
definitely not. Matt Ispinski, he's been there since he's graduated.
Where did he come from? What's his
He's
background?
from Meadville.
Okay.
He graduated, I want to say he was a freshman when I was a senior, so I think he graduated in 13 or 12 or 13. And then Tim Schleicher is the girls' coach.
Okay.
He came from Linesville, actually. He won a state championship out there, and he's been there now this will be his 3rd year, I believe. And then Dan Nelson.
Yeah.
I got Dan involved this year as well. He was a year behind me. He graduated in 2010. They lost in the state finals his senior year.
Now, each one of these coaches have their own responsibility. You know, you see Bear Bryant up in the press box, and you got the backs coach. So these guys, they know what to do at practice. There's a little certain
Yeah, I mean,
kind of deal.
for the most part, we all kind of contribute in like different ways. You know, we'll start off practice and we'll have a little plan going on and whatnot, what we're doing, and you know, we all kind of convene at the end of practice and discuss maybe, or actually during our breaks, what we need to work on, maybe something we need to change. But you know, typically we all will. Not one specific thing, I would say. You know, where the whole game is, you can't just do one thing. You're not just a quarterback where you're just throwing the ball or a lineman just blocking. You got to be able to pass that spike. You got to do it all. So I mean, I guess there's not one line coach or one
Right.
running backs coach and
So
that
to
man.
speak.
You got to be able to do it all. So.
And when you're at home, I know that, you know, there's an umpire. He's or she's the referee that's kind of underneath looking at the cards and the rotation. And then you have the referee. And then you have to put some people on the lines.
2 lines judges.
I mean,
yep.
you throw a dart or some kid doesn't do his homework, how's that kid get
How
out?
does that kid get out there? Oh, I don't know. We just kind of picked somebody to put out there.
Is that right?
Yeah. Actually, we had a manager this year. He did it for us. Johnny, he liked to do it and wanted to do it, so we let him do it.
Now in the state games, they just had
Yeah.
other referees
Yeah,
with
referees.
flags. I mean, it's real professional.
Really,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You thought the refereeing was good?
Yeah, that was great. Great match called. They did a great job. No problems.
I mean, like now that you've been through the whole thing, I mean, does the coaches get an input on the referees? I mean, you know, sometimes they say like, yeah, this guy's a loser and this guy's good, or we should look more at him. I mean, you didn't get input at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think they do have a ref come and evaluate, and I think that the ref does listen to the coaches and what they say, and I think you can pretty much pick out who the good refs are and who the bad refs are, because there obviously are some ones that maybe are not as experienced. I guess is a better way to term that, but yeah, they do listen a little bit. You know, you can say I want, like, especially for like my tournament, if we have, I want these refs to be there or whatnot, and
Right.
so.
And you can sub as much as you want? See?
18 subs in high
In
school.
a
I
game?
think.
In a match?
Yeah, in a match. That's all. Oh no, in a set. In one set. Yeah. So you get a lot of subs. It's hard to run out of subs in high school. Mm-hmm.
How many timeouts do you get?
Two timeouts.
Full timeouts or half timeouts?
No, just
Full half. What's up with timeout's a timeout, right?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
I don't understand that. That's why I
Full
wrestled.
half.
Yeah.
Start it.
We didn't get timeouts in
Oh,
wrestling.
no.
That's why.
No, unless you have
That's right.
bleeding or something.
That's right.
You need to go see Mike Card or
That's
whatever
right.
that guy was.
That's right.
You'd rather bleed than go. I mean, Mike's a great guy. What else you want to talk about? I mean, there's a lot of stuff I don't want to miss anything. I mean, we're trying to catch it all. And congratulations to the guys, the athletic director, the whole Meadville community. And the boosters, I'm sure they're a part of it, right?
Yeah, you know what, we had awesome boosters. The parents, those kids don't know how well they have it. They really, you know, every match we went somewhere, away game, they had subs from PA Sub Shop.
Nice.
They had 2 things of water. They had a big crate of food. They get a great deal of sports gear. There's bags and shirts and stuff. I don't even know what the heck's going on. I like it that way. I don't want to let them do all that, and I just want to coach.
Yeah,
and
that's what it
that's
should
been
be.
the nice part of
That's
all
a
of
good
that.
thing.
And I kind of stepped into a really nice deal. They let me do that. You know, I assisted coached a lot. And I felt like I could just continue on just coaching. You know, people always are afraid of those headaches of
Right.
having to deal with all the other nonsense, I guess, of being a head coach and all the behind-the-scenes stuff. And I had to do a little bit of that, but really they made a pretty nice paved road for me.
I got to ask this question. You can answer it if you want to.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this semi-relationship with you and kind of with your mother. Did every step along the way, did she give you advice, or did she wait for you to ask for advice? Well, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. But the fans are on the edge of their seat. This is a loaded question, man. Get used to it, because as you're good as you are, you're going to get a lot of these questions.
She would give me her advice. There would be some times I would just call her and be like,
Oh, right,
did you see this game, whatever, what do
Right.
you think about this? And, we have always, I helped her coach the last 3 or 4 years, and we had a really open relationship.
Right.
And we were pretty upfront about it. I'd say, I think this should be like this, and she'd be like, no, I think it should be this, but whatever, you're the head coach. And she'd do the same thing. She'd say, why don't you do this? I'm like, because I don't want to. I don't want to do this.
There you go.
And she'd be like, okay, that's fair. So, we we're very respectful.
Oh, I would
Of course,
think.
she's my mother, and
And successful.
yeah, and knows what she's doing, and it's hard. So yeah, it was great. I had a great resource to fall back onto if I ever had a question.
That's true.
With her, or even Tim and Matt and Dan. And then Doug
yeah.
was there. We had Danny. I could ask a lot of people. I had a lot of people that if I needed something, they were all ready to help me out. So
This is going to sound like a screwy question, but
No.
a couple of years ago,
Not the
Dan,
ones I've been in. How can it be worse than the ones I'm in?
we were talking about curling, right? We go over there a couple of times talking about curling. The U.S. men's team had won the curling, at the Olympics.
Yeah.
So, okay, Meadville wins the state championship in volleyball. I mean, do you see, are things boiling now? I mean, are you looking for a crew, for the next 5, 10, 12 years in a row, something like that?
I don't know about that. I think we'll be tough next year. I hope maybe this sparks some more guys coming out, because we did have some low numbers. Last year they didn't even have a JV team. So hopefully we can get some more guys. We compete with lacrosse now and baseball with athletes, and I face the fact that I don't think a lot of kids just want to play sports as much anymore. I think that's a true maybe thing. I mean, I don't know if you guys agree with that or not. I think it's easier to pick up a video game controller and play some video games, and so it's harder to get out there and get kids to come out and play all the time. And so
That might be true.
I hope that maybe this sparks some more interest. Kids like Charlie Wade, who are
Right,
great
perfect
athletes
example,
who
right.
didn't do anything in the springtime and decided he wanted to come out and play volleyball, and he started for us and was a huge factor of what we did, and is a state champion now. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, his dad was pretty athletic.
Yeah.
Of course, he played hoops. He played hoops at Meadville.
Yep. Todd.
Todd, yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, of course, all the Wades did, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, Dwayne, any final questions for?
Just congratulations. I mean,
Thank
I couldn't be happier for you. That's just awesome. Just to bring that back for the first time in 55 years, bring that home to Meadville. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That is great.
It is good. Yeah, DJ, anything?
Yeah, no, I think it's the same thing, not necessarily a question. Yeah, congratulations to
Thank
you and the
you.
boys, and obviously everybody behind the scenes, and what a great accomplishment for the town. And I know that we'll obviously overlook that you were a Tiger and all of those things. But now you're officially a part of the club.
Yeah.
We can officially accept you and everything.
Well,
But
thank you.
but other than that, no, yeah.
Yeah, now you proved
congratulations.
yourself.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Well, thanks for having me. I've enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
final thought. Yeah, anything you finally
No,
want to say?
it was an awesome year. I look forward to a lot more great years, and I can't say enough about the community, the players, the parents, the fans, everybody. They gave us a ton of support. One more thing, we went down to play at Penn Hills in our semifinal game, or I'm sorry, our quarterfinal game against Derry. And we had to travel 2 hours, so I'd say. And we were the 1 seed, and Derry only had to come 45 minutes,
Yeah.
and they were a 3 seed. And we had triple the amount of fans
Yeah.
that they did.
That's great.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that
yeah.
speaks volumes too about the support we really had from everybody. And it was awesome. It was just an experience that I hope to have again sometime. I don't know if I'll ever beat this one though. It's pretty awesome.
It's a tough act to follow,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right. That's a good fan base. I think when DJ won the championship, we ended up playing Milford Prep on their home ice in Westchester, down outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I think we had just as many fans as they did.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
Meadville's definitely a good
yeah.
follow your community. Well, Nick, I'll tell you what. Just I know you know a lot of different levels, but this is awesome. I think this is just great for everybody, and thanks for coming on. And with that, we'll go to our next break, and then we'll come back and find out from the producer how much time we have, because it depends on how much time we have. We'll be back in a minute. Hey, welcome back to Good Sports Next Generation. Dan Craven, Dwayne Kohler, and DJ Craven. Boy, I'll tell you, that's going to be a tough act to follow, but congratulations again to those Meadville boys volleyball guys, huh? So we're going to talk a little bit of, like I said, we're going to continue on this championship theme, and we're going to start with the pros here. we're gonna just talk, maybe we'll just touch a little bit on the St. Louis Blues and what they accomplished. Of course, this year was like the 50th anniversary of like Neil Armstrong and those guys going to the moon.
That's why I wore my America hat today. Today's the day. 50 years ago today.
50 years ago today.
50 years
today.
ago.
No, I knew it was in July.
This was the day. Yep. My family had taken a trip to Florida, and we were at Cocoa Beach, and we're watching the moon landing and everything from Florida, right? Not too far from where they took off from. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
That was something I don't think I'll ever forget that.
No, a lot
Yeah,
of people
I was
thought
10 years old.
a lot of people thought they landed in Arizona. It was just a fart. But anyways, the reason I brought that up is because St. Louis Blues played the Boston Bruins, and we all know in the NHL Final Stanley Cup. It was 39 years ago that when Bobby Orr scored the goal in overtime and did the Bobby Orr dive.
The famous.
And that was against St. Louis. See, so that's why that's how that correlated.
Now they swept them though, didn't they? Boston?
I don't think.
No.
Well, I think they beat them like 4-2 or something like that.
Okay. I thought they handled them pretty well.
No, Boston beat them once big in their rink. There was a couple blowouts. Like it was like 4-1, 5-2. But I mean, St. Louis I think had the better team. They had the young goalie coming in, sort of like the.
I meant
Where?
39 years ago.
Oh,
I meant 39 years ago. I think Boston swept St.
I think
Louis.
they did.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think they did.
Everybody knows what they did now. I'm talking about back in the day.
Yeah. Well, check that off. Anyways, we're happy. I mean, you happy with the Blues winning? What do you think?
Honestly, after the Penguins, they're weak. They're weak play afterwards. I stopped watching them. Yeah, it was
Not interesting.
Okay. I just lost interest. After that.
Here, let's put that in perspective. The team that swept the Penguins got swept, and that team got swept.
Right.
So that's how bad it was. And then, of course, there were a couple trades. Only Mata's gone. Right, he's in Chicago.
Yep, we love that.
And Kessel's going to he's out playing golf in Arizona.
Yep. That's okay.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, so.
Oh, one thing, I'll make a comment on St. Louis.
You got to
And the one thing I liked about St. Louis was, and again, it's a brief comment, is, I mean, how many years was it? 2 years ago? I mean, they just lost their NFL team, and again, if you're a fan, like they have no interjection on that at all. So I guess I was somewhat happy for them in that regard. I mean,
baseball, Cardinals,
you think about, I mean, they had, obviously Cardinals had some success. They've won a World Series here relatively recently, but again, your NFL team just gets pulled out from underneath you. How would you feel?
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of nice in that regard, and I've got a few buddies. They're pretty close to me. They're from New England. They've got more championships than I've got fingers in the last 10 years. So they don't even know, what do you mean we're not having another parade type of thing. So
right.
I don't feel bad in that regard by any means. So
no. Well, the Red Sox just won, right?
Yeah. Well, the Red Sox and the
whatever they are.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
The cheat rate.
Those other guys.
Yeah. And I think that's the first time St. Louis ever won one. Stanley Cup.
A Stanley Cup? Was it the first one or first one? I think you're right. I think it was the first Stanley Cup they've won. Yeah, I think you're right.
I think they've been there. I mean, close, but they've never.
I think the last time they might even have been there was the last time they lost to Boston.
Could have been. All right, moving right along in the pros. NBA, somebody emailing the winner. All right, moving on to next. This is a little controversy. I love controversy. U.S. women's soccer team. Oh, you knew it had to come up. Only because it's a championship. I mean, there has been so much. You've been following all so much stuff going on with this team. What do you think? Just the first thing off your head when you think it. When I say U.S. women's,
all the fussing about we're not getting paid as much as the men. Well, I think I saw it someplace that the women are getting 18% of the total income that came in from the program. The men are getting 8%. So the women are getting a way bigger percentage than the men are what came in, and so more money came in for the men's program. Their percentage is a lot lower. I get the. People don't like the women's sport as much as they like the men's sport to buy a ticket, or whatever. So, does that mean they're discriminated against it? In my opinion, no. That doesn't mean that at all.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to this thing. I mean, there's so many political views. There's so many things that get tied into it.
Yeah.
So I guess the first thing if you ask me,
first thing comes to your mind.
First thing in mind is like we won the World Cup again. I mean, this is great. Like we're starting almost a little bit of a dynasty. I mean, you put all the politics aside. I mean, this is
the fourth time.
This is phenomenal. Third or fourth time, the second one in a row. This is the third time that they were in the finals in a row. They lost, 8 years ago in the final. So from that standpoint, like, this is
That's a
phenomenal.
big deal.
I mean,
That's
this
a
is
big
a
deal.
really big deal. I mean, we're the United States, and soccer is not called soccer anywhere else, type of thing. And it's called football, and
Right.
they're usually really good at it. The rest of the world. So the fact that we were able to do that and the way that they did it, I mean, over first, I mean, the PK save, and then in the what was it, the semifinal game, wherever that was. Again, I followed it as much as I could from a time standpoint. Watched the finals all the way through, and from a political side, all standpoint, and I can comment on that as well. But phenomenal that they won. I mean, they've got a really great thing going on there. I wish that we could get a coach on the men's side as well as obviously clearly the women's side. I mean, she knows what she's doing. I can't think of her name right now. I can see her face, but clearly knows what she's doing on that side. And they clearly have a very good. When I talked about the volleyball team of that, what you mentioned about someone that you saw from like our hockey team of those teams, you could tell they just mesh well. I mean, there was one comment that I heard that I thought really resonated with me is that if you remember. In the Olympics, where Carly Lloyd was our captain and she was like the star and everything like that. Now it turned into Rapinoe. That Carly Lloyd would be starting on almost any other team, and she really technically could have been starting on our team, but because of the headiness of the coach and the realization of like, okay, just because you're here doesn't mean you get to get grandfathered in and you just get to play. She played in every game, but she didn't start, which is a big deal in soccer. As you know, there's only 3 subs, so it's one of those things where it was well managed, well coached. They clearly have a very strong presence amongst themselves, and kind of a next man up mentality. That one woman had a concussion like symptoms. In the final game there at halftime. The other one, it was just next one up. Next one up, and they did that all throughout the whole thing, and got contribution even from people like Carly Lloyd that were coming off the bench and they're not used to that. I mean, they don't. She's probably never been on the bench her entire life, and she was hurt until now. So. From that standpoint, just a really great, I guess I thought from just again, go USA type of thing of like, this is awesome, the fact that they won. So that's my first thought on it. Obviously, there's the political things.
Yeah, putting that aside. I guess some people, one argument is, and you can say we could beat this in the ground, but some people are saying, like, from the men's side, the men's world teams are probably more competitive than what the girls have to face.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So the point is to get to the final. So not to downplay it, but some people want to downplay it. Not to be Danny Downer, but it's some people think it's an easier run, but you still have to play the game.
Well, and if it's an easier run, they haven't always won.
Right.
I mean, it's just the fact of it. Yeah, they've been there the 3 times in a row, but
Right.
I mean, does that speak for how good the competition is, or how bad the competition is, or how good the U.S. team has elevated themselves? So yeah, they might have been able, maybe not as much of a steep climb, and maybe not as much of a mountain, but like you said. You still got to play the game. It's not like they won every game 8-0.
Right.
They danced through pool play maybe a little easy, but after that, I mean, there were some things that easily could have went the other way.
Right.
There was a couple close calls even in the finals that early on that changes the mentality of the game for sure.
Sometimes, to be good. Sometimes, you got to be lucky. Sometimes better to be lucky than to be good.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, just on that PK save, I think that there were 2 girls from the Penn State girls soccer team that played.
Yeah.
And one of the I think the keeper that made the save was from Penn State.
She was the other one. Yeah, I know. Rapinoe's was the one from Penn State, isn't she?
No, it was another one. I forget who it was. But anyways, I don't know. I don't think she was. But the keeper that made the save, was a Penn Stater. So that kind of strikes at home. Other thing kind of striking at home, but working on the championship, sticking now. Double NCAA. We got a hats off to the Michigan Wolverines baseball. First time I think ever the Big Ten ever had a baseball team in the College World Series. I think they ended up losing to Wake Forest, who was a juggernaut. But hats off to the Michigan Wolverine baseball team for Big Ten. I mean,
and then they won a game too, right? Then they forced it to the three series. They forced it.
Yeah, it was game 3. Yeah, and they didn't lose. It was like 6-2 or something. So it wasn't like they got like manhandled. But so hats off to those guys. Yeah, and the other thing too is Penn State men's lacrosse. They ended up winning their first Big Ten lacrosse championship. They lost in the semifinals to Yale. And then, of course, we got to talk about another Penn Stater. It's about champion Shaquan Barkley. He won the SB. I don't know what do they mean by the breakthrough. What's that mean?
Basically, Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
But they can't call it Rookie of the Year because if it wasn't the rookie season, then they can't qualify for that. So that's how they classify.
They call it the breakthrough.
Breakthrough, basically your first year that you actually somewhat played. But if you looked at all of those guys that were and gals, everybody that was kind of somewhat nominated, that's minor. That's how I classify it.
Yeah, he played. He did pretty good.
Yeah, he played really well.
In fact, I don't. Did he get any rookie? He didn't get any rookie of the year honors. Did he?
I
Do you
don't know
Sean
that
Barkley,
answer.
New York.
I don't even know.
I know he had some big numbers. He broke some people's numbers.
Oh yeah, he definitely did. I mean, he played really well. To be honest with you, I don't follow the NFL awards very closely.
Well, I only do because his name's involved.
Right? Yeah,
Penn
certainly. Yeah,
State.
I don't know how much it.
You know me in Penn State.
I've heard.
Locally, yeah, some local championship stuff. If you just talked to Nick Bancroft in the men's volleyball, they did really well. The other thing too, hats off to the men's boys lacrosse team from Meadville. They actually won the District 10 and lost in the first round. I mean that Coach Gump, I don't think that program's been on its feet for more than 5 or 6 years, has it?
That's about right. 6, I'd say.
Yeah.
About
And
6
here they are.
years.
They're
pretty good.
Yep.
And you're talking about. I'm thinking they're playing like McDowell. I think they're playing Prep. I mean, they're playing some teams now. You know, Prep played some other schools to get themselves tuned up. But anyways, long story short, Meadville beat them. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the Conneaut Valley's women lacrosse team, I think they lost the District 10 to Villa. So they made it to the finals 2 years in a row, but just couldn't get over that hump. But, excuse me, they made it that far. There are a ton of girls softball teams that I know that went on from Sagertown and Kings and other places that I don't have the name for them right now. I know that they went, into this next playoff level. And then just in the paper, looking at things today, the Meadville Vernon 11, 12-year-old Little Leaguers just lost their second game in the losers bracket to Section 1. They lost to DuBois, so they're done. But they went, they were in the tourney there for the Section 1 Little League playoffs. Now tonight, as we speak, Northwestern 9 and 10-year-olds Little Leaguers, which consists of, I think, Lionsville, Conneaut Valley, Conneaut Lake, and Vernon, they're playing Clarion tonight in the first game, and I think they play tomorrow or the next day regardless. So those guys some of the local guys are still putting it into it. And as Dwayne mentioned on the off-camera thing from the more of a high school level type stuff, the Meadville ICC under the tutelage of Coach Mouse Matillo, they won a CVAC championship by beating French Creek Valley, and now they got to move on to a tournament that goes to St. Mary's. So they're sort of on the road, but that team's been doing well. So there's a lot of good local talent there. Anybody else I missed locally?
Well, that all sounds pretty good.
Okay. All right, I'm turning the page. We got how many? We got about approximately 10 minutes left. All right. Now, we're in Section D of the show, and the only reason why I know that says it right here. Section D.
D for Dan.
It's, huh?
Section D for Dan.
Well, Dwayne and Deej.
Oh, okay.
We got it all, huh? That's why it's Section D. This part of the section is self-accomplishments. Now we got to think about self-accomplishments. This is championship day. Dwayne, do you have anything to talk about?
Well, this past Sunday was the 4th annual Paddle Fest
Right.
back on Conneaut Lake.
Right.
I was the men's champ.
Nice.
How did I know that?
How'd you know
How
that?
did I know that? And people wonder why I'm the host of the show.
Second year in a row, by the way.
I know.
My second
That's
time at that.
So you can.
And
Now,
you just
what was
slapped me
your
on the shoulder, and that hurt like crazy.
Yeah.
So
Sunburn.
I'm bouncing back.
So-
Worked my butt off.
we need to talk about this. This is a 3-mile run.
It's a 5K, yeah.
So you go
3.1
up
miles.
up and back.
You go up from the Fireman's Beach
Fireman
up
Beach.
into Heidi Cooper Bay all the way into the corner, and then you come around. I think it's called Goat Island. There's a little
Yeah.
little bit of grass and woods and stuff, and then Goat Island, and then all the way around Wolf Island, which is the one with the little American flag on, down by Conneaut Lake Park, and then a straight shot back to the Fireman's Beach. And it was the wind was blowing like crazy out of the north. So going up, you're battling into the wind, and
Back your.
and then coming back, it's like, okay, there's going to be well. Then it was made waves, and they were kind of angled,
Yeah.
So it was like kept
Still
turning you
tough.
sideways
Yeah.
and everything. And I was in this like just to the death, race with a guy to get around that
did you?
this first corner, and he beat me around the corner, but I was able to maneuver past him, and got around there, and I was like, okay, good, we've got the wind at our back now, but it's like kept pushing me sideways, and so it was a challenge. It was the hardest one.
What
I've
was
been
your
in before.
time?
33 minutes and 50 seconds, I think.
And what was your time last year?
33 minutes and 12 seconds last year. So those
Well, not so bad despite the wind.
Those waves and the wind made it trickier this year. I'm thinking, oh, thank goodness that wind's at the back now, and it's like that usually is a good thing, but it sort of wasn't, because it was like the waves were kind of coming at different. All of a sudden you turn sideways. You had to get back.
So this was the fourth year, and you only did it twice.
No, I've done it all 4 years. The first year I was fourth. The second year I was third. Then I've been first the last 2 years.
Okay, so you were third, fourth, so it's 16, fourth, 17, third, and then first and first.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
It's almost be better if there wasn't any wind at all. Just a
Right.
smooth thing, no wind, and
That would be awesome.
They give you a
that
trophy?
would be awesome.
Yeah.
Or an attaboy.
It's kind of like a little paddle, like a little paddle at both ends. One says Paddle Fest, the other one says Men's Champion.
And what were you in a certain age group?
They didn't make age groups.
Really? So
I
you're in the
know.
open division.
That's
Oh man, you gotta boost this up, man.
you gotta bury in the lead.
Oh,
See,
sorry.
the way I look at it, is
gotta
this
boost
is
this
This is the
up.
World Championship. Anyone in the world could have come
Anybody in the world could have been there.
So they opted not to. They chose not to.
Anybody
so-
from the Olympics could have been paddling in the open
Don't
division.
say that. I don't want to encourage them to come.
Oh, they're
Okay.
afraid. They're afraid. You're talking about wind and wave. Those people aren't coming to challenge you. You're a two-time running champ. Now, if you go 3 in a row, is it like a turkey, or do you get
I
like
don't know.
they call it a starbird or something?
Now there's a separate class for the racing boats, like the 20-foot long boats, and that guy, there's one guy, he's won every single time in that. He's like out of sight. Just in a few minutes, he's that far ahead. You know, the boat's 20 feet long. It's made out of some kind of carbon fiber. Or
20
something.
feet long.
And that's
Is
the
it a
kind-
lot skinnier?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the kind you see in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then the race is like everybody in the regular boats that you get at.
Right.
I wonder how that wave- you didn't get tumbled.
Yeah,
You didn't get tumbled over in the waves because I mean that boat's so skinny. The keel can't be that deep.
yeah, yeah.
So he probably
the
had a
fact
rough
that it's so
time.
long seems to overcome that. You know,
Oh.
I'm not sure how, but somehow.
So you're just racing in a regular kayak.
Just a regular kayak.
old
Yep, yep. Mine came from Dunham's. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, just off the camera here. I mean, there was no trolling motor or anything involved.
No, no. Like I said, my arms were ready to fall off, Dan. You know, that was 2 days ago, and like, they are feeling like sort
You
of
didn't
like
have
arms
little.
again.
You didn't have little pedals under there like you did at
I
Canyon
woke
Wood with
up,
a
I woke
little.
up Monday morning and my hands were numb. You know, and it's like, wait, there they are.
Oh,
they're
I still
still
got 'em.
there. They're still there. Okay, all right.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, so you're a two-time champion in the kayak.
Now, how'd you know that? I'm impressed. Your research, Dan. You're incredible.
He's got people for that.
He's got okay. He knows.
I
people.
can't disclose my source.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
I got bird dogs everywhere, Dwayne. You got bird dogs that do bird dogging. I got
You
bird
get
dogging
bird-
that do.
okay.
Yeah. It was not. We won't go there. Check. D, how about you?
I don't know. I don't want to steal a thunder here. Or
You
anything.
steal it all. Go ahead.
We so yeah, Pops and I we didn't get it. We didn't get the trophy here, but Pops and I were we won our NHL Adult Hockey League again this year. So two-time
Yes.
champs as well. So
Back to back.
similar to Dwayne over there, back to back for the old red team, Channellock. So we defended our title successfully this year, and we'll get another crack at it again this year.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, there's going to be. There's some open registration going to be coming up soon.
Yeah, for CCYJ, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Open
yeah.
registration for CCYJ coming up. The NHL, we're going to be probably kicking that off here pretty soon. Hopefully, to whenever they get the pad on, maybe we'll get some pickups out there a little bit sooner. It's going to be run by Aaron, we've had on this show before, by the Mark as well. So everything well. It's a new chiller.
Good deal.
Dan, can I mention two things?
Oh, absolutely.
Speaking of championships.
Yeah,
so,
no, that's a championship
the-
show.
The Utica just across the line in Venango County, Utica Volunteer Fire Department had their fundraiser this year as a woodchuck hunting contest.
Oh.
So whoever got the biggest woodchuck,
Oh, you
won-
got
won
that
the prize.
too?
No. But I did get one, and so I sent Kevin a picture, so hopefully that picture can show up here. But it didn't quite make, but I was kind of proud of myself, holding the woodchuck, and getting my picture taken with the woodchuck. But no, I didn't have the biggest one, but that was a lot of fun.
Well, there you
So,
go.
Second thing, we have a Crawford County Outdoors. We'll include a woodchuck hunt as a future episode of Crawford County Outdoors. Also, we have that just debuted this week. We have a let's see, which one is this week? So I called it Terry Appleseed. Terry Beck and his son Landon and we went and planted an apple orchard out where they go hunting, and so. Now we've kind of fenced it off to keep the deer out of it till the trees kind of get
Right.
settled and whatever. But then that's hopefully going to keep deer coming around there for their hunting grounds for
Right.
the next forever. So
Oh yeah.
you mentioned, or Nick or somebody mentioned before, kids just aren't doing their sports, and it's like Pennsylvania hunting and fishing licenses are just dropping off, whatever. And I think he's right. I think people are opting out of that to play a video game or whatever. The thing that impressed me the most about the whole thing was Landon spent the whole day out there planting apple trees so that he can hunt on his family's farm for the next forever.
Right. Yeah.
So thank you, Landon. And Gavin, Gavin wasn't there. He was tied up with something else, but he would have been there if he could. But anyways, I mean, to me, that's an encouraging thing.
Yeah.
To see younger guys out there working on the future, and it's like, on the future family thing that's going to keep things going on
Yeah,
for a long
absolutely.
time. So.
Yeah, well, it's funny you should say that because on Letter News I saw big headlines coming in today. There was a teenager, I think he was from California. He survived 6 hours without Wi-Fi today. Me, on the other hand, I'm the championship in the dart department at work. 12 pieces of pizza at the bar, less than 27 minutes.
Nice.
And then we can
All
beat
right.
that record.
Yeah.
All right, so how much
Nice.
time we have there? We're just ready to wrap it up. 2 minutes. Okay, real quick. Last thing, just one final thought. What do you got? We'll just kind of let you segue. You kind of give a spiel about the kids, but just kind of what do you want to kind of touch
We always
base on?
have, in the fall, we have on the outdoor show, we have the viewer video show. So DJ's going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro here,
Yeah.
so bring some video back from
Yes,
that. Everybody else,
absolutely.
take your camera with you if you're out fishing or if you're out kayaking or if you're whatever, because funny stuff happens, and it's really, we love putting those videos on the show. So please record those and let us know. Call over here to Armstrong and we'll get them on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So my quick thing is, you know me, I'm always talking about golf. Golf is something that I know we don't talk about a lot on, around here maybe as much. But so the U.S. Or the British Open, the Open, coming up this week. Pretty excited about that. I actually was fortunate enough to be at the John Deere Classic this past weekend, and just how phenomenal those guys are. They can just strike the ball anywhere, and they can do things with the golf ball that we could only do on accident. So pretty excited about that. Looking forward to watching that. Up in the early, it'll be early morning because it's across the pond. Rory is the favorite right now. I think he shot 60 or 51 or something silly like that when he was younger, some silly number when he was in his teenage years. So he's certainly the favorite right now with amongst all the other cast of characters. So looking forward to that. Get out there and support your local golf course and hit the sticks.
Yeah, I'm going to guess probably our next show might not be until you're back from Africa, DJ. So.
Probably not. Yep. So yeah, we've got that obviously going on. That's going to be in early October. There's a group of 10 of us. We're about a little almost close to our goal. So again, certainly we can maybe throw the website on down there again here this time as well, and support your local cancer center. And if you feel obligated to donate, certainly that's my right hook for the day. But yeah, looking forward to it. And again, we'll show some pictures, I'm sure, when we come back, and some footage or something. So yeah, we'll get you everybody all hooked up on how it went.
Yeah, real quick, I think in August, I'm going to be doing one of these night club golf deals. I think Dwayne and I are going to be out. We're going to be going to play at the country club. It's going to support the United Way. I think it's the August 16th. I don't know if they're still getting teams involved, but please do. It's going to be a benefit for a lot of local groups in the area. I've got a team coming in with Dwayne and 2 people from work. I think maybe Ryan Brennan, Amy Bavacqua are going to be on our scorecard. Never played night ball before. It's all par 3. Looking forward to that. So that's going to be exciting. We'll give you the update on that. And for myself, for Dwayne, for DJ, for thank you to Nick Bancroft, for Kevin and the whole Armstrong family, this is Dan Craven saying good night, everybody.